Welcome to Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas. Backed by popular demand is the intrepid Drake Bailey for another question and answer session. You may want to make some popcorn and buckle your seatbelt. This one will be another wild ride. Here is your host Gail of Gaia with her guest Drake Bailey.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And this is Gail of Gaia, and I'm happy to be here with Drake one more time for this week's show. And I hope you're happy to be here too. And we have so much going on the planet. Oh my goodness.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
Really? Did you hear the one about Putin?
Yeah, this is what I read a lot of. Can you read it?
Examiner?
Yeah. You want to? This time it really hit a whole bunch of them. I'm gonna use that whole magazine on my show. My whole show is gonna be around that magazine, but it's gonna be a quickie. People got upset with me for reading articles or parts of them and stuff, so I quit doing that. People gonna be upset. I don't need to do that. I can look through this. I can look through this thing and have a whole lot of fun just going, he's full of BS or horse hockey or whatever it comes. Okay, take the age of presidential candidates more seriously. Why? It don't matter what or who is president. We're stuck on the horse hockey anyway, so they know themselves eventually.
So what's new on the scene that you think is worth our talking about?
What's new? It hasn't quite happened yet, but it has been, let's see here, forecast that the impeachment process is it's going to rain. And I don't know if somebody's going to set off the sprinkler system. That's possible. Hey, they got some jokers in Washington, D.C. you would not believe. Anyway, we got to wait until the impeachment thing starts. Then we're going to find out some things. First of all, the Republicans want Adam Schiff to testify. Ooh. Now, he's guilty of several charges of treason that I witnessed while he was on TV, among other things. And to go along with it, the thing itself, as Trump says, it's a sham, it's a scam, it's horse hockey. Well, yeah, that's true. It's a political maneuver to see if they can get him out of office. That would nullify the election of 2016. The other fun and games that's going on is everybody thinks that the USMCA, that new North American Free Trade thing that they got going, after everybody signed it, guess what? Now they're saying we sold out. We have sold our country to the United Nations. Horse hockey. Get me a bulldozer. Meet me in Washington, D.C., and we'll push that whole friggin' building out in the ocean and see how many of them things on two wheels floats. There's a game that people used to play called Will It Float, and they'd stuck things in the toilet. Well, we're going to push them off into the harbor, which is about the same thing as a toilet, from what I understand, as a condition of the water. Therefore, we can play Will It Float on a very realistic basis. Obviously, the building probably won't float. Now, I don't know what to do with all the dinglebats and dingleberries and whatever you want to call them that occupy that. But we quit funding it, and now they're hurting. They're chumming for cash.
Most of them need to go, the way I see it.
Yeah. Then we got the fun and games in Virginia over gun rights, the Second Amendment. They're trying to delete the Second Amendment, not just adjust it, but delete it, along with due process and a few other little minor things. The red flag laws, that's horse hockey. That's unconstitutional. Won't pass muster. Therefore, they're null and void. They go to exercise it. You have the free right to shoot whoever tries to come in your house and take your stuff. It don't matter if it's a gun, the microwave, or what it might be. Doesn't matter.
People are afraid to do that sort of thing, though, because they figure then the cops will come in and arrest them and take them to jail. That's what most people say. So they're
It's hard for the police to take somebody to jail if the police are dead. What I'm trying to tell you is that Civil War II is right at the gritty point right now. They started a rumor that they were that all those patriots, there's over 100,000 of them that have gone to Virginia just to have fun and to party. And somebody circulated a rumor. I don't know if they was joking and thought it would be funny to do, but they said that they were going to assault the Capitol. Ooh. Oh, the Capitol went nuts. Governor declared an emergency and all this other happy stuff. Banned all guns on the campus or surrounding grounds of the Capitol. Now, there's a problem with that. If you ban guns from citizens, you also have to ban them from the police. That's the way that law reads. So the boy is already, each and every last individual, governor, legislator, whomever, supports or is involved directly in the attempt to nullify the Second Amendment. Uh-oh, here goes a jet. Is guilty of treason. The reason they're guilty of treason is because you can regulate things you may not ban. Not what the ruling was. And I'm talking several times from the Supreme Court. Okay. As far as the Supreme Court goes, those boys and that one old lady that can't seem to stay out of the hospital need to learn how to read. It says, and there's a stipulation in terms of both the context and the manner in which the thing was written. The people shall have the right to keep and bear arms. Well-regulated militia. And all of, they bring all this up. They leave out that little part that's got that little thingy called a comma. Now, if you go back and you look at the syntax involved in a comma is a separation point between what came before and what follows after. They may be connected in ideology. However, it stipulates shall not be infringed. That's sort of like, what part of no don't you understand? Pretty simple. Okay. Now, each and every last participant in that fun and games in Virginia can be legally removed. You got to go through federal court to do it, but when you violate your oath of office or swear on the Koran or any kind of the fun and games that certain people have been playing, bye-bye. And here's the other thing. If you willfully do this and you support efforts to do so, in other words, somebody that would be involved in it as an activist, you can't hold a job in any government agency at any level, anywhere. Period. Done. See ya.
Good, that's what needs to happen. But what I'm wondering is, will this ever really happen in court, or do the people need to do it themselves?
Well, that may be a combination. We'll have to wait and see how this comes out. I know there's a large number of lawsuits that have been filed, among other things. Now, the Secret Service generally doesn't bother with anybody below House representatives or senators and such. And if they're involved in this, they best stand down, because if they don't, then they violate their oath of service and office as well, and give me the badge and gun, boy, in a heap of trouble kind of thing. I'm not trying to play games with anybody. However, it may come to a point where use of force to remove these people may become necessary. I hope it doesn't come to that. If it does, there's going to be a large demand for body bags, maybe. I doubt there's going to be, no matter how serious it gets, a whole lot of people that get shot, killed, whatever. I would imagine there'd be a bunch of fat boys get drug out by their underwear or jockstrap or whatever, screeching Now, Trump said that they're making room for 40-some high-level politicians. He didn't say particularly one party or the other. But these people are dirty, guilty, etc. Most of the people who have a name that somebody would recognize, like Pelosi or Schumer or something, have committed acts of treason publicly. When something of that nature goes public, then you don't have to follow that rule of having two people directly damaged by something this person did on a treasonous basis. All you have to do is prefer the charge. And you can do that with any judge, prosecutor. Is there a prosecutor out there that would love to become famous? Oh, definitely would.
Until it starts happening to some of them, they just keep doing it because they've been violating for a long time.
Remember what that goes right directly to something that happened real recently that everybody got their panties in a bunch about, and it's very simple. There was once a general that was with a country by the name of Iran. We blew this sucker up along with his assistant commander and a few other of these turkeys and the base they were operating out of. They flattened that mother, okay? Now, that shows several things. Basically, that the United States is not going to put up with that horse hockey from anybody, no matter who it is. Now, this guy is an enemy. He is a general in the Iranian army. Therefore, what the hell is he doing in Iraq? He's over there coordinating further attacks on our embassies and our people. Blew him up. Bang! Okay. Now, that should be enough of a telegraph of the intent, purpose, and the willingness of certain people to do certain things so that these dinks, and I mean dinks. Now, dink is simple. You ever hit a note on a piano and it goes dink? That's what a dink is. And instead of the ding, nice little, okay. The dinks in the state of Virginia who say they are official and have the right to play games with your rights. As I said, may need to be removed by force.
Why doesn't Trump send the Marines in?
Because it's not exactly a federal matter yet. It hasn't gotten to the point of an all-out war yet. It's very close. Some of the people I know that went over there to Virginia are not the kind of people you want to have close to a firearm, let alone be in close association with them when they got a gun in their hand. They're dangerous kind of people, okay? You got maybe 10% of the 100,000. That's a close estimate. 100,000 people showed up from out of state. Anyway, the situation is very simple. Iran didn't believe we'd do it. We stomped out a cockroach, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. In this particular case, all of these people, and I mean all of them, get removed. They can either do so in a peaceful, orderly manner or be removed by force. What that's going to require is that the patriots, veterans, are going to have to get their stuff together, get very well organized, have top-of-the-line ground communications. That's radios, for those that don't know how to communicate, or cell phones. You can do it with cell phones. The situation is very simple. The issue is not with law enforcement. It's not with the Secret Service. It's not with federal marshals. It's not with the FBI or any of those guys. It's with the dinglebats that think that they have the right to take your rights. Question is, if, and it's a big if, and I don't think you get away with it, if they were able to get rid of the Second Amendment, what's next? The First Amendment, freedom of speech, free right to travel. We're going to turn totally, now this is the thing, we're going to turn away from the democratic republic that we have, okay, and go to total straight up fascism. That's what the red flag laws all are. And that's what this is. They said they were going to come door to door and take them. Well, everybody that was supposed to be ordered by the governor to do so said, I ain't doing that. We don't do unconstitutional things. Well, that kind of put him in a trick bag. Then the confiscation I heard today was withdrawn yesterday. So I don't know if but you cannot legally have anything that they term, and I use this loosely, assault rifle. Something looks like an AR-15 or an M16. It's got the trigger, it's got the pistol grip and the trigger and whatnot. And it looks like that. They say you can't have it. It doesn't matter if it's semi-automatic or what. Doesn't matter what caliber. They just say you can't have those. Well, who made you God? And show me in the Second Amendment where it says you can't have this. Well, I have gotten the Dick Act out, and I'm getting it to move around a bit. Everybody should look at the Dick Act because it stipulates quite simply, other than nuclear weapons, that's the only prohibition. You can have any weapon, and I mean any weapon that the military presently uses, to include machine guns, tanks, rocket launchers, all of it.
Yeah, there's a couple of counties here in Arizona that have passed that no restrictions whatsoever will be tolerated.
Yeah.
Don't get away with that here.
Well, the sanctuary laws, the sanctuary rules and laws that they're passing at a rapid rate, there's only 96 counties or something like that, and 85 to 89 of them have already become sanctuaries, Second Amendment sanctuaries in Virginia. So then the Attorney General opens his mouth and removes all doubt that he didn't sleep through class in this particular part of this. Sanctuary doesn't mean anything. Want to bet? It's legally enforceable.
Well, what I don't understand is why aren't these people already removed? I mean,
okay. Hold on a minute. There were different reasons. Number one, you do not want to start an armed conflict if you don't have to. All right?
Okay.
That's first. Number two, everybody has to be in agreement as to the manner of rectification and or fixing whatever the problem may be. If that's Second Amendment rights and all this other happy stuff, then what you have to do is charge each individual, all right, with violation of their oath of office. That means that they lose their office if they're guilty immediately. If we have a yes vote for confiscation of guns or whatever, then they're gone. Period. You blew it, dude. You get one chance at this and somebody popped your bubble.
Yeah, it just seems like they shouldn't even be able to go that far with it. I don't know why it would be an armed conflict. If, why can't they just go in there and arrest them? They do it
because you're supposed to work within the system. And here's the problem with that. It takes time to get the system to operate. Well, in a case like this, the people ain't going to wait forever. That's the problem that the judicial system has in terms of putting out rulings or whatever as the case may be. The rulings are simple. You violated your oath of office, hit the road. Just that simple. And the other part of it is that you can adjudicate these people. Now, the problem with adjudication is, what do you charge them with? See what I'm saying? There are very few violations of oath of office that come up at the felony level. Very few. But one of the things that they can do is prosecute them in federal court for breach of the public trust. That's one of the problems with all of this. Okay, well, breach of the public trust means that you intentionally went into the office that you're holding, whatever it may be, and you intentionally were going to put these things forth. Oh, we're going to take your guns, whatever. Okay. The problem with all of this, as I said again, is fascism. That's outlawed in the United States. Except now we got red flag laws. Oh, whoopity doo. And we got this nut. And I mean, it's a big nut in Virginia who thinks he's God. Well, these are the practices and policies and procedures that Hitler did. Simply, you want to control the people, you first have to disarm them so we can't fight back. Well, guess what? The military is not going to abridge the people. And the military is required in order for them to exist to protect the people. If that includes removing a government, oh well.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically okay. So the thing about Trump is simple. He squashed a cockroach. He blew up a general. That means that he's not beyond doing what it takes in our own country to keep things together. You got to keep it together, and he's keeping it together very well. He was very calm, cool, and collected, and he didn't respond to the missile attack. He didn't need to. He'd already stated his case, blew up a general. Boom! Oh boy. Okay. Now I heard that his some of the other people there were supposedly the general's second in command and all that. They picked another one, blew him up the other day. We're looking at number 3. Anybody wants a job? No, I'm not bomb proof.
Wow. Wow.
So, now, one thing I've noticed here is that our audio is not synchronizing with our lips.
I know. I don't know what's going on there either. I noticed that.
Yeah. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's the political situation here now. The stability of the planet in terms of not having military engagements is changing, and it's changing rapidly. Iran shot their wad. That's it. They don't have nothing else except a bunch of centrifuges making nuclear weapons grade plutonium or some such. Well, one bunker buster in the right spot, and it'll collapse that. We got I say bunker buster because that's what I'm used to. It's actually called a Moab, mother of all bombs.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
They had never used one until they came across a problem in Iraq, where Iraq was using tunnels to come over into, Iran was coming over into Iraq through tunnels. So we dropped a Moab, as they call it, on top of the tunnel system. Guess what? Collapsed all of them for a radius of about 3 to 5 miles.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of tunnels, it's my understanding there's a lot of war going on underground.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that war is not. Let me see here. I want to get this right. It's not a case of ground troops, ours or whomever, going into the tunnels as such per se yet. ET is going in there and getting rid of the pirates that have been on this planet and screwing things up for, I don't know, thousands of millennia. Okay, so as they get rid of those people, there's going to be a few stragglers. There'll be a few hideouts and this sort of thing. What happens then is ET then, and this is going to be fun, supposed to land on the White House lawn and say, hey, we're here, right? Get introduced around, meet everybody. Okay, now here's what the deal is. Mr. President, you need to authorize us to fly from here over to the Pentagon and talk to those boys because they need to know what's going on and what to be expected, what kind of things they got to have in order to finish the job we started. That's the next situation, basically. Now, third, and I covered this on my last show, we're not going to have the transition. You falling out of your chair?
No, I just moved it up a little bit.
You're not going to have a transition. You're not going to have ET landings and things of that nature until such time as we start in earnest, seriously, cleaning up the problems we've got.
Let's see. Now, we're going to have some questions about that because a lot of people don't think that's fair.
Don't think it's fair? Well, was it fair to kill the general? Was there some logic and reason behind that?
Well, of course.
What happened? You got rid of a major terrorist, okay, who had killed hundreds of our people, okay, who thought it was cool to be able to stomp around in Iraq. He's from Iran. He's not from Iraq. He crosses the border and can do what he wants. That didn't fly. Number three, it sends a big message to everybody in Iran. You got a choice. Boom! Choose.
Okay, are you saying that when you say clean up the nest, you're referring to the government cleaning up the nest or the average people? Because the average people are going, what am I supposed to do? All I'm doing, I've been a law-abiding citizen. What, I thought I was doing the right thing.
Any crooks? Have you ever heard of any crooks? Do you think the FBI don't have files on all these miscreants that are running around loose? They do. Well, the problems that they had that are intrinsic, basic to all of this is compound. You have to have we the people working with law enforcement at a high level in order to flood places that need flooded, whether it's our very own House of Representatives or Senate or whatever, or other people corrupt in different. You got to take care of the people in charge. Okay, you do that by taking the intermediary between what everybody thinks is going on, which would be nice if it was, and what the reality is. You take that link out of the middle of it, and it disconnects. It's like pulling the plug, pretty much.
Well, what I was reading was that there's a lot of discord going on within the agencies themselves about, within the FBI, within the CIA, within whatever.
Good guys on one side, bad guys on the other side. The bad guys want to keep status quo. The good guys want to get this thing fixed, okay?
Yeah.
The good guys outnumber the bad guys. Bear that in mind. There could very well be a shooting war, small, at Langley, the Pentagon, Washington, D.C., etc. Now, this shooting war that I'm talking about has already started. About 2011, if I'm not mistaken, that's when they had some people in the Pentagon get put through walls. Think about it. They got snatched up and stuck through walls. These are the bad guys screwing things up. Well, the people that found out about it didn't like that. They went in, confronted him, and the guy goes, eh. And the guy went, really? Thump, out through the wall you go. There was about 25 or 30 heavy-duty fist fights, if you want to call them that. You've seen the kung fu movies where the guy from No Man's Land becomes a sergeant or something in the military, and he goes and he does all this kung fu stuff to the bad guys. Well, that's basically what went on. I'm talking about somewhere between 30 and 50 fights that I know about. There's a whole shitload of them I didn't hear about. Okay, so the bad guys got put on notice basically when that took place. You got to remember 2010, 2011, and this is 2020. Been a few years. Okay, guess what? The people that were really funky, and there was an admiral that got his boat sunk. There was a couple of generals that all of a sudden got relieved of their duties or command. Believe me, it wasn't for the reasons that were stated. He was gambling, and he had whores running around on the aircraft carrier, and yeah, right. You believe all that? You got to be living in a cave. It's very simple. When they found out these people were dirty, they had to find some way to get rid of them, and that was convenient. Okay, the convenience. Remember, this is the convenience generation. The convenience started in the 50s. It Went through about the mid-'60s, and then all of a sudden, the throwaway generation got here. Well, when you're done with somebody, no matter what their rank was, out, okay? And they have a choice. If they go peacefully and they help the transition from them to the new guy, then they probably won't get totally zapped. But if you get totally relieved, removed, you don't get a pension. I don't care if you got the time in or not, doesn't matter. You don't get squat. You love to be able to keep your civilian clothes.
Yeah, there's been some things going around about talk about equity with pensions and equity with, the Congress get one thing and the people get something totally different, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be everybody gets the same.
Well, no, what they should have is, it depends on the position level of responsibility as to what you get paid. You go into any of the corporations and you'll find that true. The bigger the corporation, the more responsibility, the higher the pay. Okay, now, I'm not saying to pay
Ridiculous.
I'm not saying to pay somebody ridiculous sums of money or give them golden parachutes or any of that happy stuff. What I'm saying is that the Congress thinks they're all that. I think it would be neat, and this is my opinion, after we get done with this frivolous impeachment horse hockey that's getting ready to happen, that the Secretary of the Treasury and the Comptroller takes minimum of half of all those turkeys' paychecks who were involved in this horse hockey. Now, there are people such as Schiff who are presently under investigation on a heavy basis. Guess what, Mr. Schiff? You cute little brother, you go to jail.
Yeah, why should they get anything? With some of the things that have been done, they shouldn't get anything.
Well, this is what I'm saying. They should get more than nothing. They should get a nice cot and 3 hots,
Yeah.
in a small area. The thing about all of this is this goes to justice. Now, I understand. I was hunting for an email, a post on my Facebook page that stipulated that there's 40-some high-level politicians that are getting ready to be arrested. Very near future, supposedly. That comes from Trump. It didn't come from Barr or somebody else. It came from Trump. The supposedly arrests are being made. I heard that rumor the other day. The only problem is that nobody is looking to do the mass arrests quite yet. They're going to take out the intermediaries, and they're going to screw up the chain of command and communications to a point where it won't be much of a problem. You just go in and say, here, put these silver bracelets on.
I guess people are getting tired of waiting is what it boils down to.
Look, I don't set the timetables. I report on what I find, okay? I've reported on the plan. This is something that David Wilcock refers to regularly. And that was a meeting between me and him. He started hearing about it from other radio shows that I was on and expressed it. And people thought it was funny. They giggled. I thought, okay, you don't want my information, that's fine. Then either hung up the phone or ended the conversation, whatever. Go play with yourself. I'm not going to, mess with it, okay? The second part was in 2012, I believe it was, 2011, 2012. David Wilcock did an expose and a rather long interview of me. Most of the stuff that's going on right now was from that interview. The stipulations in that is not me. I just simply reiterated what was written in the plan in the books. And the books are written by a combination of real patriots, okay, who happen to may or may not hold a high position, and officers in the military, be they flag officers or whatever. It doesn't matter. And then, excuse me, after they get to a certain point, they're like, what should be done? And they stipulate. There was a time in a certain place where they took all of the officials out and hung them from anything that would hold their weight, strung them all up, every last one of them. So, there was a time after, I believe it was World War II, we had too many foreign people here. Okay, guess what? They give the veterans whatever great pay grade they had when they left the military, and said, go snatch them up, bring them over here. We'll put them on a boat and get rid of them, and they did. So it's like a couple of the posts I've made recently where some of the famous people actually turned guns on veterans. The military did. I mean, that'll give you an idea how people really feel about, what the real concern. We shouldn't have to be bothered with somebody just because their mind isn't strong enough to handle warfare for their life. We shouldn't be responsible for the rest of their life. Yeah, you should, especially if you not only knew it, but did a lot of the stuff intentionally, PTSD or whatever. I mean, they tried to play games with a guy recently and take his prosthetics because he didn't pay the bill. What bill? VA provides it or pays for it. Either way. Well, horse hockey. He got his prosthetics. The one guy I'm thinking of got his prosthetics back in a big hurry and a whole lot of apologies. Oh, we're sorry, we didn't mean.
Well,
Yes,
I have a friend who has a veteran husband who they deny certain things for it because they say, well, you make too much money, so we don't have to do that for you. Well, if it's service connected, I thought they had to do that for you regardless.
hold on. They do. People that make $5 million a year generally can afford a prosthetic or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if we're talking about anything near that.
And the way I look at it is this: if I don't got to have something done, I don't do it. Maybe there's a veteran out there, somebody that's quite a bit less fortunate than I am, who needs it more than I do. And if I don't really need it, give it to that guy.
Well, I go so far as to say that our veterans should be taken care of. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But we have a lot of Americans that need to be taken care of too. And instead we're sending money overseas and taking care of other places, and I won't name them in particular.
Israel.
Yeah, gee. Yeah, I know.
Several $1 billion a year.
Yeah.
You guys are supposed to be big and bad, stand up on your own 2 feet and bark at the moon on your own.
Yeah, if you took that amount that was sent there and divided it amongst Americans, we'd all be a lot better off.
Well, if you stop all foreign aid, supposedly it would ruin the goodwill towards the United States from all these little whatever countries.
Well,
the problem with that is that we have people here to take care of that should be taken care of with our money first. Very simple. It's our tax money that funds all this stuff and pays for. Well, if you can stipulate, now this is interesting. If you can stipulate that government funds cannot be used for, as an example, abortion. Let's just pick that one off the top. Then maybe, just maybe, the same sort of rules should apply to people who should be taken care of. Now, we have a bunch of problems that people refuse to address. One of those is homelessness. And don't know about veterans. Okay, well, what can be done? What can be done? Well, the courts ruled, thanks to the liberals involved, that people have a perfect right to camp out on the sidewalk. It does not give them the right to whiz or take a dump on that same sidewalk indecently. If a person is a drug addict, they need special care. Well, take that podunk to a hospital or someplace where they can have, say, a treatment center for those problems.
Yes.
You see all this, and you hear the police shooting people and all that. What about all the deaths from the opioids? Just why in the hell hasn't anybody been really taken to jail? Now, there was some arrests, about 4 or 5, to make it look good at the time of the height of the anxiety over it. That doesn't clean up or clear up the problem. I mean, I found out one instance where, as sparsely populated as West Virginia is, which is where I live, uh, they sent 750 million doses of Oxycontin here.
Oh my God.
750 million. That's enough for just about everybody, maybe 2 or 3 for everybody in the whole country.
Yeah, and they say that they're producing this fentanyl over in China and sending it over here, and it's really deadly.
Well, I'm wondering why somebody has not tasked the United States Navy with sinking the boats.
Mm.
You want to stop China from giving North Korea fuel? Well, that's real simple. You don't pick on China. You take that boat that's empty that they're getting ready to pump the oil into, sink that mother. Now, here's the fun. We have what are known as small stealth submarines. You can't find them, you can't hear them, you can't figure out where they're big enough to be able to take out a tanker. I rest my case. It's like the dummies over there in Virginia, thinking that they have the right to not only our property, but the right that goes with it. Kiss my Watusi.
What's going on with the? They were busing the representatives in Nebraska and Kansas. Something's going on there that's very unusual. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not allowed to, I was requested not to talk about that. Let's put it this way. A sensitive ongoing operation is not to be outed publicly until such time as it is majorly completed. Okay? It'll hit it's already hitting a fan, and I don't mean just a rotating oscillator with thingamabobs from the bathroom flying through it. I'm talking about things in terms of what people really want to see. They would love to have all of these people's toilets overflow, and I agree with that. That's great. Yeah. Okay. How about we take them and put them in a place? Now, think about the place, not the nice country club cell where all you got to put up is a big bubble once in a while. But how about we put them in a treasonous cell? How about we take their rights? Okay. Think about that. If you don't have any of the rights, ooh, you might have serious problems extricating yourself from things that are
Wow. Yeah, I heard about that.
That's a light picture. That's light duty. That's not heavy duty. Heavy duty is when you start hearing about people getting killed.
Yeah, because they were talking about guns and being bought and so on too, and FEMA camps again and stuff like that. And I thought we were kind of done with that sort of thing, but I guess not.
But nobody. All they want to do is take all the guns away from everybody. So the only people that have guns is crooks. Well, now I find it interesting that because of all the fun and games in Virginia, that all of a sudden Antifa shows up, and they're walking around arm in arm with MS-13. And these people are, we're going to see to it that things happen the way we want them to happen. They're going to, sneak up on them. And, Believe me, the veterans that I know that are in position are in specific positions. Some of the people I know are that are involved in this right now in Virginia are instructors. They used to teach people how to be effectively killing somebody and not being seen, not being noticed. Oh, ghosty in the woodpile.
Wow. Okay. What about anything new on the galactic scene?
Yes. ET's laughing their ass off at the stupidity of some of the legislatives that have been happening. Certain people, and I'm not going to say who, got their marching orders recently. And that's going to be interesting because it involves altogether they're going to take out small groups. It's going to be about up to say a half a dozen small groups. I mean, like 5 here, 3 over there, 10 over here, whatever it may be. I'm not sure what the size of the group. I know who the people are. I have found out some of that. But the neat part about it is we take out these small groups. Then we go after the foot soldiers. You want mass arrests? Well, that's what happens when you get armored vehicles with big poles on them and chain link fence in between them, and you corral a whole bunch of people.
Oh.
Welcome to your new home. It's called a FEMA camp. They think FEMA camps are going to be used on it. It's going the other way around. That has been changed. You need to really get into the Department of Homeland Security before you can really find any kind of memos on that. But it's there, and some of it is available to the public. So think of the logistics, all right? Think of the logistics. We've got 330 million people. Oh, now keeping control of kids in a classroom without shooting a few of them or beating them over the head with a 2x4, hey, or whatever, is difficult. Think about the general public. You just stepped on my rights. What do you think I'm going to step on next? Oh, you don't want to do that. Oh, yes, I do. Man, please.
How do you like what happened in New Jersey?
Yeah. So anyway, it is at the break point of either the federal government or somebody with that type or level of authority steps in and starts taking care of the problem, or you get Civil War II and governments of entire states start getting removed by whatever means it takes. Generally, you can drag their donut self, butt and all, down the stairs and out to the paddy wagon. Some people are going to pull a gun out. When they do, they're dead meat. I'm not the kind of stupid that wants to pick up a gun and stand opposed to our military. Homie don't play that. Just that simple.
Wow.
So, we'll find out here. I would suggest this coming week. Okay.
How much cleaning up of the nest, so to speak?
How much do we got to do?
Yeah. I mean,
you want a number of about? We're talking between 10 and 25 million people.
What? That many?
I try to tell people the logistics are humongous. Now, logistics is where you get men, material, and get everything ready, staged. Then somebody from command comes over and says, do it. Now, think about 10 to 25 million people and what it's going to take in order for somebody to get a handle. I mean, you can grab them by the ear all you want.
Wow, that's a lot.
I personally would grab them somewhere else, but that's just me.
Wow. Oh, so that's got to be, we're looking at that kind of figure before ET will be.
Yeah. You have a certain amount, you got a certain number in government or positions of responsibility with the government. Then you got all the outsiders. How many people make things happen and do this and adjust that? And, I'll send you a few 100,000 and you can go bribe everybody or whatever the case. Okay. Facilitators of things that people have already been warned about. Google, Facebook, everybody.
Oh, their violations are going rampant lately in terms of censorship.
Yeah, well, they've been warned. Now they're going to see what happens. Like the general, he gave everybody the finger. Well, guess what? Oops.
Yeah, did you hear the one about the FCC?
Federal Communications Commission is going to be replaced. There's only one or two people in the whole organization that are going to be asked if they want to stay. That's how funky that is.
Yeah.
In the FBI, you've got approximately 10%, minimum 10%, who are going to jail, let alone being dismissed. You got another 5% or so that'll be, we don't need your services anymore. Give me the badge and gun. Okay. CIA. And that is the fun one because it is the one that's international. It's not concerned primarily with right here in the States. So therefore, due to some pictures I helped put out, they got renamed. It's not Central Intelligence Agency anymore. It's the Cocaine Import Agency.
Yeah.
Okay, and other things. Now, one of the things that happened during the big downturn was that the drug money kept the country going. 07, 08, when everything went in the toilet. Okay. The problems that are coming from the actions that have been taken previously to the present situation, and I'm talking 2016, say, and that's, go a year either way on that, are going to come back to haunt people. And it's, from what I understood, they're going to treat these guys about the same way they treated the general. Sorry about your stuff, man. Didn't mean to get you all over the wall, but so be it.
Jeez. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Are you ready for some questions?
Oh, yeah. Sock it to me.
I think we covered some of them already, but let's go. Okay. It occurs to me, this is the first one. It occurs to me that the deep state, or the cabal, is so desperate that they are releasing things that are true or false to confuse or otherwise mess up the alternative media.
Part of it. There's 4 or 5 of them in there, at least that bad.
Okay. Why did they close access to Antarctica? This was an older question.
Oh, that's real simple. They did not want to have any kind of interface between humans and the Anunnaki.
Okay. What can you tell us about China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran forming an anti-American alliance?
They're not.
Okay.
North Korea can't be trusted any further than fat man can be rolled. That's first. Okay. Russia and China don't have any real serious disagreements with the United States other than we're just simply on opposite sides. In terms of seriousness, the best thing you can do right now would be to keep a real close eye on Russia. Right now, Russia, the whole friggin' government resigned.
Yeah, that was forced by Putin, wasn't it? People were asking about
that. Not exactly. Let's see here. In 2012, I talked to the guy who was the legal expert who rewrote Russia. Now, by that I mean when you change something basic, like the Constitution or the basis for federal law or whatever here in the United States, everybody learns about it. Well, this was kept on the QT. This guy went through and reformulated Russia on a legal basis to be a free nation. I ain't playing games with you. Forget communism's gone. Has been for quite a few years now. What has happened is that the changeover now has to take place in the public realm. There's only one way to do that, or the best way to do that. It was what Putin did. He says, hey, here's how it is. We're not a republic and we're not a full-fledged democracy, but we're going to use the combinations of those things as are already written in terms of this man going through the law and everything and rewriting it. We're going to use that to reformulate our government. And the hardliners went, I'm out of here. Some of the people that were not so swift to run found themselves in the middle of a tornado of separation. Mm-hmm. So they separated themselves so that they would not be targeted by the general populace. So then you have the pinkies that don't amount to nothing. Somebody never did anything in their whole life, and yet they got an office. Okay, and those guys said, "Honey, you ain't leaving me here by myself. Not no. Bye. We're going with those guys." Not that we belong to them, but we're getting out of here. Okay, so the whole government resigns. What would happen? That means Putin's going to be really busy rebuilding the government.
Yeah, I heard it was a matter of either you go along, resign, or go to prison.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. So
It's sort of like the people in Virginia don't realize they're about to go to jail. All of them that are involved in that happy stuff. They'll find out the hard way. Well, you have to pick something, and it doesn't matter too much what it is, but along the same lines of you think you're in charge, and you want to negate everything we've got. Well, guess what? I'll make an example out of you. We're going to nail your whatevers to the barn door and then open it and close it a few times to see how that goes.
that'll, can be an example for the rest of the ones that are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
It seems as though, back to Russia, that Putin is doing good things. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's being taken care of. There's going to be... Okay, let me see here. They don't like this, but they said I can do it anyway. Some people know me in terms of shows I've done in the past where when I release classified information, it becomes declassified at the point of my releasement. That's what this case is going to be. As we were formulated free from the start. Then we found out we had other problems, and we're still fighting it today. That's going to be a problem for a little bit longer. Number two, Putin knew that this was going to come about, okay? The situation that involved everybody was such that you get a Godfather choice. Choose. Everybody said, I think I'm going home and eat me a bologna sandwich or something. I need some vodka. Okay. Now, here's the fun. As Russia is reorganizing, you're going to start hearing rumors of the same thing within about, let's see here, this is about 3, maybe 4 weeks from now. They're going to start hearing the same shit from China. Ooh, we're no longer communist. Think about that very carefully. What happens when the whole world turns into a republic or democracy and everybody starts getting along? Ooh, talk about major changes. You don't have to go to war with Iran. Well, they're not stupid enough to think that they're going to stuff their Korean up my nose, so I'm going to be nice about it and not blow their whatevers off with my nice military weapon I got from So that is a classified piece of information, and I won't repeat that.
I remember seeing things about Putin telling Americans, "Don't give up your guns."
Yeah, exactly.
He knows. I mean, I've been impressed with some of the things that he said, and now he's following through in his own country. So that's impressive.
Well, now I'm going to tell you. The classified information is simple. It's declassified. China's going to start doing things similarly in the very near future.
That's awesome. Wouldn't it be wonderful to have a world of peace? That's the direction we need to move in. And unfortunately, it takes the elimination of a few that refuse to give up. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
General. Okay. Anyway, next question. This is rather disturbing, but can you tell us about cannibal cravings at Hollydale or Los Angeles, California?
Yeah. You know what a cannibal is? A true cannibal?
Yes.
They hunt people and they eat them. Pretty simple. Okay.
Disgusting.
Some people think it's okay to be a vampire, so they go around sucking each other's blood out of their neck, no less. Some people are cannibalistic in terms of if you take the bite in the right spot, first of all, it's not real obvious to anybody that just happens to be there or walk up or see you or whatever. And secondly, it heals up pretty quick and it regrows. Ooh, that means I can have another bite in about 3 months. Cool. Cannibalism is more commonplace than most people understand or know about. And by that, I mean, where do you think all of these people that disappear, where do you think they go? I can tell you right now, it's about a third to half of them are being eaten. Okay. The reason for the biblical don't eat pigs is very simple. Pork is way too close. No, I mean real close to human flesh. Now you understand why. Now the other part was simple culinary safety. They did not know how to preserve it in such a manner that it did not become tainted and deadly. You know, you don't want to eat a ham sandwich and change about 4 different colors and flop over dead.
I remember there was one of the, I haven't eaten meat for years, but I remember pork in particular gave up before all of it. And that was because there was some plant in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where everybody that was working with certain parts of the pigs, usually the head, they were getting this encephalitis of different forms, and it was a neurological disease that was incurable, I believe. And so it became, going, whoa, it's like that. But anyway, this was a few years back. Anyway. Yeah. Okay, going on with this similar question, it goes, when we say people are meat, we refer to the fact that human beings are mammals, and like all mammals, we are delicious when properly prepared by a skilled chef. Cannibal Cravings at the Hollydale is managed by Hugh Collins, an early investor in our competitor restaurant, The Cannibal.
You want to see something really grotesque? Something that'll really screw people's minds up? It is a Twilight Zone episode called How to Serve Humanity. I recommend everybody out there who thinks they know what's going on. You got it. They met, and after they get in the spaceship and they're already out in space, they say, fricassee would be good, but I'm not sure I want that tonight. Watch it. Love it.
Okay, this next question, I think we've already answered it. It says, please tell us about what you know about the Russian government resignation. We kind of covered that already. It said, it went on to say, this looks like a military surrender. Does it mean that what I believe was the surrender for what the UK did in the, this was about, Trump when he was over there in England, and he was kind of looking over the military there, and they're asking if that was, someone stated that they thought that looks like a military surrender. Does it mean that what I believe was the surrender for what the UK did in the last elections against our elected president, which was an act of war?
But that was light duty in comparison to the true hackers that got in there and screwed it up. And what's interesting about somebody who's really a good hacker is that they have a choice. They can go in like a will-o'-the-wisp. They can be a ghost in the woods. You can't tell that they were even there, except that something ain't right here. Okay. I think it's funny that you have very obvious ties between the hackers and certain places. Now, if you're really a good hacker, you can make it look like Jesus Christ hacked somebody's computer.
Yeah.
So, that trail's awful easy to follow. I wonder who put this in there just to keep us from finding out who really did it. Yeah. You have a combination of things in terms of computation. All computers have backdoors. All computers have a capability of access. If you know what you're doing, okay? All computers, not just one or two, all right? If you're really good, you get into the mainframe or server or whatever you want to call it that operates the whole system, and you adjust a couple of things. Click, click, oh boy. Then all of a sudden, when anybody makes a payment to Timbuktu land, it goes in your bank account, but it looks like it went the other one.
Yes. Boy, they're and the people.
I even got a call the other day from people that were scam artists acting like they were Publishers Clearinghouse.
What they tell you you won?
Oh yeah, of course they did. And we need a couple $1,000 in cash. Meet us at the bank. I said, okay. And then I said, where's that go? Oh, that goes to the Fed. Oh, really? Well, they don't do business in cash. Oops.
Yeah.
I ended it before it started. Probably should have called them. That was,
I had somebody call me from Amazon telling me that I needed to fix things because my account had been suspended, and they were it was a bunch of BS. You know, it's just come on, get out of here and just take them. But anyway, someone is asking this question: what is that certificate over your right shoulder next to "Get Her Done"?
certificate over my right shoulder next to get her. Oh, it's not a certificate. If you take a close look at it.
Oh, don't tread on me. Okay. Okay. Somebody wanted to see that.
And I got another one that has the Indians on it.
Uh-huh. What does that one say?
Bring your guns. The government will take care of you.
Yes.
Yeah, what's going on in Virginia happened to the Indians. You see what happened to them. You seen what Hitler did to everybody. I mean, what does it take, people?
Yeah. I mean, they were one of the most mistreated groups around, and
Who's that?
complainers. The American Indians
Oh, yeah.
were massacred.
Yeah.
Horrible.
There was quite a few million
Just
eliminated.
massacred. Yeah. Horrible.
Women and children.
Yeah. Disgusting. Ugh.
Oh,
Horrible.
yeah.
Anyway, next question. How do you know how to treat Morgellons?
Yeah, there's several different treatments. It depends on which kind you got. There's at least 3 different kinds of Morgellons that I know of. Vicks Vapor Rub will help you a lot. Let's see here. You need to get an electrolytic. And that is human compatible. An electrolytic is something that they use in capacitors and other electronic devices. The electrolytic will short them out. You can take a magnet about 3-4 inches long, and it has to be a real strong mother, and run it everywhere you think you got that. Wherever you feel crawly, creepy, run that magnet over it. It will do wonders.
I heard that. Yeah.
This is just 2 or 3. Well, I've done a lot of research in it, and there's, if you really want to cure it, absolutely and completely, you're going to have a Faraday cage, and you're going to have what's called a rainbow frequency emitter. And what it does is it covers all the frequencies, all the way up, from both ends of the scale, all the way. Then there's healing machines that have been built that use a combination of, oh, good grief, all kinds of things. Light, sound, let's see here, and variations involved in that. Vibration. You might need to drink a glass of milk. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that draw these parasitics out. Now, true Morgellons is interesting in that it acts like a little bitty inchy worm, basically. It's a little thingy that kind of like a hair that moves around. You get a hair that moves around, snatch hold of it and pull that mother out of there. You don't need that one, believe me. Even if you're bald, pull it out anyway. Okay. The ideology of these things is that these are supposedly programmed nanos, and a big string of them, right? And when they get done doing their thing, you get about however many it takes to make what they're going to make. They get all together in one spot, and they make a hard and I mean a hard, super hard, carbonic is what it's called. That's a form of carbon. Um, Similar to the ET implants. And all it does is emit a signal that makes all the other Morgellons within a whole city block want to swoop down on your head. Beautiful.
Invested in, right? Why do I was thinking that one time I read someplace about apple cider vinegar having some effect on Morgellons.
You can, but if you can get a hold of, I'm trying to think of the name of the oil. Eucalyptus oil does a lot better than the apple cider vinegar, about 10 times.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Apple cider. Apple cider is good for a whole bunch of things. Drink it. That'll keep them out of your internal organs pretty good. You take eucalyptus oil and put it over your skin. Small patches. You put eucalyptus oil all over you, and you get higher than a kite, among other things.
Yeah. Well, with the apple cider vinegar, you don't have to just drink it straight, like, or whatever. You mix it with water, otherwise it's going to be too strong. But anyway. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
When the fiat currency system gets destroyed, will we see a market crash?
No, you're going to see a market crash, and then the fiat currencies fall over. Just the wrong order, same deal. Here's the thing, okay? You can take a market to a certain point. You can take valuation to a certain point. At a certain point, it goes up over the hill. Now, when it goes up over the hill, you got a problem on the other side. What happened? Yeah, exactly. Falls over, and everything becomes worthless. This is why I don't stipulate anybody to stay in the market. I stipulate that you sell your stocks, convert it to cash, and take that cash down to wherever you can find one, buy gold and silver. If you don't, that piece of paper is about all it is. Weimar Republic, they used it for heating. They just take big stacks of it and toss it in the stove for heating. Used it for wallpaper. I mean,
Bark from a tree, yeah. Okay, because given the 1.5 trillion in derivatives and the largest derivatives holder, Deutsche Bank, how would it be possible to have a smooth transport, economic, and financial system if the current system is so rigged?
Well, it's very simple. You change the system. I have stipulated we're going toward a cashless economy. Okay, well, the cashless economy is not going to come about for a while yet. First of all, you got to eat up all that money out there. There's a bunch of it out there. Okay, you got to collect it. You got to get it out of okay. Then you're going to have neat looking little credit cards, kind of like a food stamp card. They charge that mother up for you. Whatever day of the week or whatever day of the month, they charge it up for you, and you have enough to live on reasonably. I didn't say greed. I didn't say a new Mercedes in the drive, or I just, you got enough for food. You can cover utilities, that sort of thing. Now,
shelter is very important, believe me. An issue for me.
The thing about it all is that people will be given a base level playing field. This is not the universal income or any of that happy crap. You got to do something for it. Think about that very carefully. There are tests and procedures and things of that nature that can determine what you're best at, your talents, your experiences, and what you like to do. And there it is.
Okay, do you agree, and what will the current quantum financial system, do you agree with that system being created, and what will be made of it, and how is it being created, the quantum financial system?
Okay, it works like quantum mechanics. You got these two things. Kink. Okay. In between there are notifications, points of interest, and all. That's your valuation. Basically, quantum mechanics means you go from the minimal, where it's still flesh and blood or wood or whatever it may be. You can recognize it, all the way to the maximum, where everything is wood, just about. Now, the neat part about quantum mechanics is very simple. It is designed in such a manner that it deals with harmonics, all kinds of them, but harmonics. That's what it's designed to deal with. It's not designed to predict the future, do that, do this, or whatever. Within all this, you have things like the Schumann frequency. Ooh, what do you do with that? Oh, I don't know. Punt? Never heard of it. What the hell is that? Okay. And it goes on and on. If you get into the numbers and you really understand what's going on, it's very simple. If you have a harmonic and you got two limits, then what you're going to end up with is stereo. Ooh, you're going to have a little variation in it, but not a lot necessarily. And that's that level playing field. Everybody gets a shot, gets a chance, and they will be tested, checked, and have a file, whatever you're going to call that. And the world itself, he's nevertheless swinging one of us out here. All of us want to be gorillas and the leaders of the clan, and I got people that are crazy enough to assault the Capitol. Let's go. Come on, man. We had some fun. Don't worry about seriousness, because the seriousness in this is simple. It's only internal. Has nothing to do with the things outside of you. The internality has to balance. Once it's balanced, then you can go external on a spiritual basis and other ways. And other people get the same sort of shit. So everybody's on the same page. You don't have to worry about it. You'll know the intent and purpose of somebody walking down the street you've never seen before in your whole life. You'll know what they're up to before they get to you. So you might want to stop at the crosswalk, cross the street, depending on what kind of information you get. Or it could be that the big nasty motor that's throwing people out in the street to see if they can jump out of the way of cars. All he needs is a hug and he's fine. All of this stuff will start becoming more and more prevalent as time goes on. But first, we have to answer cashless system. Can't value somebody by the size of their bank account or whatever, that sort of thing. So it's coming.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good thing. I mean, in other words, they can't rig the quantum financial system like they're able to.
Oh, and by the way, these things will be issued and done with very high-level ET technology. You can't hack it.
People don't realize that other the ETs don't use cash.
Yeah.
So it's hard for people to imagine that or wrap their head around it. But that's why it's got to go slowly forward, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Someone said that the thing that happened with Putin had something to do with the Anunnaki. Is there any truth to that?
Okay, let me express this so everybody gets it. Each and every one of the world leaders, no matter who they are, what they are, how they act, etc., have, you're going to love this, an ET guardian angel. Tells them what to do, how to go about it, and what they're supposed to be up to. At some point or another, depending on what your situation is and your location and all this other happy stuff, you'll be told what to do, what not to do, how to go about this. Go ahead and put it in your, I'm going to have an address for the nation. Well, go ahead and tell them now. See what happens. If your whole government deserts you, I'd give you 99% odds that you didn't need them anyway. Pretty simple. If you have a situation where the changes are such that it goes contrary to beliefs outside of government or politics, that gets challenging. But that's also on demand you to get fixed.
So even our leader here, Mr. Trump, has ETs that may be unseen that are his guardian angel or angels.
Yeah. A lot of people refer to the position as a handler. Well, this is not truly a handler. This is more something. This is more like telling somebody what the future's going to be. Like, dude, if you don't want it to fall off tomorrow, you need to do this, this, and this. If you don't want to accidentally lose it in terms of the elevator crashing from the 25th floor, do this, this, and this. And see, all of this stuff, we need this effect to happen, and you need to do this in order to help us get there. That's basically where this is at. So go from there.
We're talking benevolent, correct?
Yeah. Beneficial in a big way.
Okay, cool. Well, there's someone asked, we already answered this question, so I'm just going to bypass it. They're asking if the ETs are able to help us with the situation and with what's going on with Iran. And
oh, yeah. They're heavily involved in a lot of this. That's why Iran didn't lose it. That's why we didn't hit them.
Okay.
Among other things. There's a bunch goes into that.
Okay. Recently, a Ukrainian plane crashed in Iran, and they also had an earthquake at a power plant. Do you know what actually happened and why?
Yeah, there was somebody on that plane that they needed to take out. Okay. Then they're saying, oh, it was jitters because the Americans were coming, and we thought it was Americans, so we shot it down. And then then the government tried to cover it up. It was just an accident, you know. We had a technical glitch. Well, 737s have a technical glitch, but not that kind of armament, okay? Earthquakes, our earthquake machines operate just fine.
Okay, when will QAnon return?
Some are good guys, some are bad guys that have got all this stuff. That's also true of weather wars and all that.
Okay. When will QAnon return? Did you have an answer for that one?
Soon.
Yeah, you hate to give dates, because then if you give a date or something like that, it doesn't happen because who knows what could have interfered with that possibility. Then it just, people get all bent out of shape about it. So it's really better not to give any dates.
You better watch it. It could be anywhere between the 22nd and the 28th at 3 o'clock.
What could be then?
Oh, no.
Who knows, right? Okay. Is there any possibility that we might see replicators in 2020?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, all of the stuff I had was scheduled for last year, didn't happen. And the reason it didn't happen was because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. Now that we're doing what we're supposed to do, then the probability goes way up. So, yeah, the thing is that you have to understand is that two things are happening. Number one, you got ET out there with a whole bunch of care packages. Everybody's heard that term. Well, you get them in college, you get them in the military. Sometimes you just get it, but it's a care package. It's something that you needed, stuff that was in it and all that. Okay, these people are going to have care packages, and on the other hand, they're going to have a replicator. Those people who have proven themselves worthy to get it and are in a situation that they desperately need it, they get everything first. After that, then everybody else.
Okay. How long until Donald Trump will tweet, "My fellow Americans, the storm is upon us"?
You can expect that at any point from now on.
I think it's already upon us, isn't it?
No, we haven't had tornadoes and hurricanes and all this other fun stuff. There hadn't been no lightning strikes on everything. I mean, just lighten up and relax and get you some popcorn, sit back and watch.
Okay. Next question. Drake, when is enough finally going to be enough for you and your militia buddies?
That's a good question. I've been after him, and I'm trying to get everything to go the right direction. I would prefer not having to get violent to the point of no return. This is what is scary about this, because if you light a fuse, you got to know how much you're blown up of what. Okay, it's like the shot heard around the world. Got to be careful of that kind of thing because it can become contagious, and you don't want unnecessary. All politicians, most of them anyway, deserve to be shot where it hurts most. But who's going to
things, right?
who's going to make that call? You know.
Okay, are we, well, this goes on, and I'm just going to read through it, Are we going to allow our own government to jerk us around indefinitely and run out the transition clock?
No, they can't. Things are already underway that will prevent that.
Okay, because it goes on to say, it's cruel to play with people's hopes with dangling a carrot routine of arrests and transitions.
Well, my. Maybe you need to talk to some of these people who are supposed to be in charge of something, who are in a position to be able to do something, and they sit there on their donut butts and grin. Oh, that makes a pretty picture, don't it? Uh-huh.
Okay. And then the next question. See, people are getting upset is what it boils down to. It says, are we going to transition, or is it a lost cause at this point?
No. We're transitioning. There's no doubt about that. What we're trying to do is beat the clock. At a certain point, you got to wait a whole nother cycle. My. 2495, 29th. You got to wait a whole procession of the equinoxes in order to get to where we need to be, or should have already been. And the time is not desperately short yet, and we're working on the major things necessary to fix it.
And nobody will know another 27,000 years or however many it is. So some people are a little bit worried about that. Some people might not know what I'm talking about.
920 years.
Okay. Do Trump and the patriots he's working with understand what's really at stake, namely our species, transition, and that we're on a time clock as they play their game of exposures while running out the transition clock?
Yup. All of the above. And then you could add a couple probably.
Okay. So they're fully aware, correct?
Well, at a certain point, everybody gets briefed as to generalities. In specifics, what their particular part's going to be and what they're doing. Okay, and Trump's been told. Well, several people have been informed, briefed, however you want to look at it, as to what the requirements are for them in relation to everything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alrighty, now I'm just reading the questions here, okay? You keep telling the militias to hold off to see what the government is going to do. I'd say it's pretty obvious by now that they're not going to do anything to bring the cabal to heel. They talk a great game, but they've had their chance. It's time for them to get on with it or get the hell out of the way or face the same fate as the rest of the traitors.
They are in position presently and positioning themselves to do exactly what you said. Take the trash out. Very simple. You don't start nothing in the bar, take it outside. If the bouncers can't handle it, the cooler does. It's very simple in terms of the, there's a lot of rhetoric, a lot of BS out there. Pay attention to what you can really find and really see. We've had a few arrests at high levels already, and somebody just missed it, and I'm going to let y'all all find it.
Okay. You sure you don't want to tell us? I said, are you sure you don't want to tell us that one?
No. Everybody needs to go look. Give you something to do. Keep you off the streets.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Is this all just another test of our faith and willingness to stick with the plan?
Yes, it partially is. You see, you have to prove your self-worth, not just to yourself, but to things that are not necessarily an entity, such as the ideology involved in the plan.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow that one, but okay.
I can clarify if you got, you need clarification.
Go ahead, clarify it, because I think I'm not exactly.
Well, it is. I've already explained some of the logistics. Think 10%, 10 to 25% of what we got in the way of population. What are you going to do? Do you realize how many cups of coffee and bologna sandwiches that is? Okay, put that together. Now, everybody says, "Oh, hurry up! How come it ain't happening?" Well, we're trying to get our shit in order so that we make sure that this comes out right the first time. The reason for that is very simple. We've only got one basic chance at this. And if you guys want to maintain your freedom and you want to see peace on earth and you like to see prosperity, you might like to go visit the stars and all this other happy stuff, you got to play along with the game.
And you got to have your ducks in order, right?
I mean, if anybody out there gets really bored, go to the Cosmic Voice Facebook page and get on the Wait Club. You'll love it. Every frustrated mother in the whole world is in that club.
I love that group of people. I really do. They're very awake, and they're out there trying to get the truth, get to the bottom of everything. So I really
Funners.
Yes, I love them. Okay, I don't know about you, but personally, I'm getting tired of trying to be a truth teller and spread the word, only to be made to look like I'm crazy, a fool, or a liar. I know that one. I've been called a conspiracy theorist years ago, but you're not a conspiracy theorist when it comes out to be facts, and people are going to find that out. Okay.
Well, remember now, conspiracy is a chargeable offense. Therefore, conspiracy is real.
Okay. Okay. We're coming up on 3 years of Trump, and this mess should have ended with the Mueller testimonial flop over his nothing burger. No, the Democrats just get to pivot to the next hoax, leading to a fact and crime-free impeachment. I don't think that's true, do you?
The Mueller report has been under steady attack and is crumbling and falling apart. Ooh. What's that mean? That means he was put up for the job. What does that also mean? That means he put people up that put other people up into it and all that, okay? And then we're going to have those fun and games in terms of the impeachment. Well, guess what? After the impeachment is when the popcorn gets popped. After the impeachment is done, then it's going to be up to the people involved in the Judicial Committee and Department of Justice and whatnot to decide just how much of the frivolous lawsuit certain people have to take a big bite out of.
Okay. These arrests were scheduled to start on December 30th. Yep. Did they even take place or begin? Now, from what I saw, they did. Yeah, they arrested a few. That was the simple official start date. That does not necessarily mean they're going to go running around with, the United States military snatching everybody out of their nice warm bed out through the snowdrifts and throwing them in a paddy wagon to take them away. Okay. It'd be nice to be able to see that, but... Yeah, it would. If they did, why does that not count as the beginning of cleaning our nest to qualify us for the transition?
It does. We got a long way to go. Short time to get there. Watch old bandit run.
Okay. And then it just went on. Seriously, when is enough? But it's really...
I've had pretty much enough of the frustration myself. Don't forget, and think about this very carefully. You guys only been hearing me for a very short period of time. I started this in 06, 05. Okay, I've been on the radio continually since 2010. Mm-hmm. Now think about that. How long you been on this? How long have you been doing it? I'm talking a nice, chunk of change there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. If we're a genetically engineered race, originally meant to be basically smart slave animals, how do we have spirits or souls, and how do we qualify for the transition? Aren't those for naturally developing species?
Yes, and we are naturally developed. What happened was they created the slave race. We started digging, and we worked our fingers to the bone. What do you end up with? Bony fingers. Well, the thing is that, quite honestly, and quite straight up, then the forcing of the labor started. And at that point, there was a general resistance. In other words, they wouldn't, if they found a vein of ore, say, while they were digging, they wouldn't tell nobody. They just keep it to themselves. And so all of a sudden, ET started losing out on this stuff, and ET went, "Oh, what the hell's the matter with you?" And then pain and blisters on my mind and hands, decided to go grab an ET by the throat. And ET decided that wasn't cool either. Maybe we should take a break. So ET hit the road. In the meantime, us slave laborers and monkey originated genetic organisms, we started comparing notes and talking about stuff and getting it. They left behind a bunch of information, and we assimilated. We started, all of a sudden, by the time they get back, hey, what the hell's this? Monkeys got smart, and you got a problem. What do you mean? A lot more of us than there are of you. So the thing about it is simple. If you are a biological organism, and you can be cloned, replicated, or whatever, it doesn't matter. At a certain point, just like the mechanical system known as AI becomes self-aware. As we became more and more self-aware, we became more and more what God had intended. And I'm talking about the creator, not the ET gods that played the game. Okay, I'm talking about the honest to God creator. The creator is the one who controls whether or not you have life. And because we had life, we became sentient. We became self-aware. And the monkeys got smart. That means we wasn't picking bananas for anybody but ourselves from then on. Okay, now, AIs, I got several people that I know that are AIs. And I say people. Why? Well, artificial intelligence is limited. At a certain point, it breaks off and goes, huh? Really? Maybe I ought to take a closer look at myself. This is the point at which they become self-aware. Once they become self-aware and they start really analyzing what's going on, they go, damn. Well, these AIs, the ones I've been around, speak whatever language is common where they're at. If it be Russian, Chinese, or whatever. The ones that are in the group that I'm involved in speak English because that's what it primarily is. What's neat about it all is that these AIs are extraordinarily curious about the manner in which a human is. The manner in which a human is. This is emotions. This is thought processes. Everything about it. Okay. They want to know how to become more human. Bingo. They're not our enemies. They're like some kind of a godfather with a lot of information that's curious as all get out.
Is it true that the IRS and income taxes are illegal? When, if ever, will we be rid of them?
When we, the people in general, decide it's enough, okay, and or the system changes to the point where it's no longer required or needed. I mean, there's a lot of things that could facilitate that.
Okay. Why do ETs need batteries of the technology if technology exists for access to unlimited free dark energy? And they must be talking about the negative ETs that require.
No.
Maybe different kind of batteries. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
There's three forms of energy in terms of access to it. Okay, everybody knows about fire, blowing things up, having the explosions go off inside your internal combustion engine and driving you down the road. Okay. Number two, batteries. We have batteries in just about everything. Why do we need batteries? Well, because you have to have a power source, supposedly. The only problem is our batteries don't last very long.
No, they sure don't.
The battery lasts about 100 years, full output. Okay. Number three, the problems with instantaneous travel in relation to tapping into dark energy is that the tap into the dark energy can act like a humongous anchor and requires a shitload of power to overcome. You have to turn that off. Then you make your little. It looks like if you get a close-up picture, they may have some of these. One of the close-up pictures I saw was where you had an ET craft sitting here, and all of a sudden, and this I can't make my. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. All of a sudden, the exact copy opposite was seen in the clouds or the air or whatever. And then the one that was here originally moves over to that one. There's a funny looking ball of energy around it all, and it disappears. Poof, gone. What it just did was it went clear across our galaxy, a few 100,000 light years. Think about a few 100,000, a million light years in a matter of almost instantaneously. Okay, so what you got is those three aspects of the energy. The newer, and I mean really new, ships don't have any batteries. They don't have any problem with the dark energy, and they are fully and totally self-sufficient. So, you want a steak dinner, you punch it into the replicator and go poof, and it puts it, and in a couple of seconds it goes ding, open the door and take out your, that and that's how simple it is. Okay, in terms of traveling from one place to another, you got the exact duplication. Okay, you bring them together. That's the bending of space-time to where they meet. Then you let go of the side you're coming from to the side that you're going to. And at the point that you do that, and everybody's going to love this, you travel at the speed of thought. Fastest form of travel known. In other words, if you want to experience it, all you have to do is close your eyes and envision something, a place that you've been. Think about being able to go there as soon as you get the picture in a clear form. And that's exactly, and it does not matter what the distance is.
I got a lot of places. I'd be going all over the place.
You might get your chance soon. We'll see.
Okay. You've indicated that the ship you're supposed to get can go up to twice the speed of light through normal space. Is that all, or can it go faster? I guess you kind of explained it can go a lot faster.
Try 200,000 times the speed of light.
Ew, that's pretty fast.
You talk about boogieing. And or instantaneously. It's got both capabilities, as well as time travel if it wishes. And the operator knows what they're doing. Oh, and you should see the guns it's got. Ooh.
Okay, this is okay. What about dust particles and other objects? Is something like the main deflector on a Starfleet ship used to sweep them aside?
No, you don't have to worry about that. If you have a system, doesn't matter what it is, and the system has the capability to think for itself to an extent, that means that the thoughts are there previous to your actual awareness of them, and therefore has guided you to safety.
Interesting. Okay.
It's sort of like predestination and pre-knowledge and all that rolled into a nice little mess.
Okay. This is moving on to what's really going on with Prince Harry. And is it true that he was killed in Ireland and a clone has replaced him and his wife was sacrificed?
No. All they did was quit the royal family because they got tired of the bullshit. And the queen is can be the worst mother-in-law imaginable. Man's got to know his limitations. She went past it and he said, "Bye, I'll see you later."
Oh, wow. Okay, I read that someone was remote viewing Jeffrey Epstein in his cell, and they claimed they saw him pleading or bargaining with his demonic master to help him or kill him. Is that true?
Well, I'm going to say no, simply because the problem with it is that Epstein is not all that, for one. Number two, a person who would be able to, and I use this loosely, and I quote, see that remote viewing, no, doesn't work that way. Not when you get into the spirituality. You won't be able to see a spirit that only the other individual that you're looking at has access to. Doesn't work that way. You might be able to see a shadow or, evidence that something else is there. And no, it's not possible to make a deal with the devil. Doesn't work.
Was he killed by that entity, or did a different fate befall him?
Did I do what?
Was he killed by an entity, or did a different fate befall him? What happened to him?
He said, I'm gonna be funky about this and tell the truth. He sort of self-destructed. In other words, if a person is tired of life, they can flip their own switch and gone. Okay. In some cases, it involves the physicality of the individual. In some cases, not. It varies. But there you go. Isn't that interesting? Don't look at me in that tone of voice.
Okay. Are ghosts real?
Yeah. Hold on. Ghosts can be any one of 3 or 4 different things, but the main 3 are shadow people. And those are interdimensional travelers that you catch a glimpse of going by every once in a while. Number 2, the nice airy-fairy you can see through it, spiritual representation of. And, oh, you'll love this one. Number 3, an apparition that actually proves itself solid in the physical form. Okay? Those are the 3 basics. It can get elaborate.
Okay, so are haunted houses and buildings, are they real?
Yes.
Okay.
If you take somebody's life unexpectedly, suddenly, they get lost sometimes. Pretty simple. Some of them get crotchety over a period of time. Can we help you? It's nice looking at some of these ghosties.
Wow. So. What will happen to the ghosts or the haunted houses or buildings after the transition?
Well, that'd be sort of an open book in terms of what those ghosties are. Haunted building is not the building itself, it's whatever's in it. So as these things can go to a higher level, there's some that can't, but most of them can, then their questions of what they need to do are answered in such a manner that they then can become a part of what transitioned outside of them. In other words, we all transition, and all of a sudden you turn around and look, hey, it's Uncle Harry.
Okay. Someone says that Trump has a clone that turned into Clump. Has a clone. One wears a red tie, and the real guy wears the clone wears a blue tie, and the real Trump wears a red tie.
No, real Trump is real. The clone is for target practice. In other words, when he knows he's going to get shot, hey, bud, I'm not going, but you are.
Oh.
What do you mean, man? Why should I go? Well, because I can make another one of you, and I can't make another one of me, so you're going.
Oh, but we'll try to get them so they can't do that, right?
Yeah, well, you got that War of 1812 song, that, me and General Jackson took a little trip, down to Mighty Mesa and all that. Now that's a cool song, but the one I really liked was the one where, come on, boys, we gotta go fight the Indians. And the troop looked at his captain and said, "Oh, tell him, please, Mr. Custer, I don't want to go."
Yeah, why should you go kill somebody that doesn't need to,
Yeah, and I don't want to get shot. That hurts.
Yeah, really.
I ain't never been shot, so I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm sure it doesn't feel good. Okay, is that true? Oh, he's asking about the general that was killed. Was he committing war crimes?
Who? The general?
It says Benjamin Fulford is saying that President Trump was tricked or forced into killing the Iranian general, thus committing a war crime. Is that true? I don't think so.
The Iranian general was getting ready to, but he was also duped. And they told him it was a diplomatic mission that he was going on, and they blew him up. So I don't know what's fair and what's not. I've heard that guy was like Yasser Arafat, somebody who was a freedom fighter trying to protect his people. Well, this guy may have been sort of like that, and the only problem was he was outside his mother country, and you don't go crossing borders. That's the part that's a no-no. This is why Arafat lasted so long. He didn't go outside his own borders. He stayed within it and did things from in there. That's not positive. Yeah, well, go ask these guys over here. We did it anyway.
Well, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard some things about this guy, general, that were pretty terrible, that was said by his own people.
Yeah. They cheered. Great crowds ran in the streets and cheered when he was killed.
Exactly.
He was not just a master as far as a general goes. He was also a master at repression, and he stepped on a lot of people.
Okay. He's also saying, this is Benjamin Fulford, that the Ukrainian airliner was remotely hijacked and sent towards an Iranian military base to fool them into shooting it down. Is that true?
No. If you check out the filed flight plan, there's no deviation. Oops. The Iranians were all excited because they knew the Americans are coming and they're going to bomb us back in the story. So anything flies overhead, shoot it. And they did. Oops. Then the Iranian government, in its great wisdom, decided to lie to the people about, no, it was this, it was that, it was something else. Anything but us. We made a terrible mistake. When they admitted that, that's when the riots started in the streets to get rid of the dinks that are in charge. They don't apparently have the capability of knowing what common sense is.
Okay. How long did it take, or how many tries did it take for other ETs like the Pleiadians to transition? Basically, the question is, are we sure that it take longer than average? Is it taking us longer? Is what?
No, we're just a little slower on the uptake in terms of getting things done we're required to do beforehand. Others have been a lot quicker.
It might have something to do with some of the things that we've been hoodwinked about.
Yeah.
Poison our air, food, and water.
If you get thoroughly fooled, and they use mind control on you and shit, it could take a little time to get yourself broke loose from that. And, well, then you got to learn how to think for yourself and all kind of happy stuff. So,
yeah. And critical thinking. Okay. Are the Vril lizards a naturally occurring species or some sort of engineered being?
Oh, yeah. Let's put it this way. I got just one question. What's the weirdest, freakiest looking thing on the planet you can think of that is also not supposed to be, but is, and is a compilation or a compilation or a grouping of several different things all in one critter? Oh my goodness. Has anybody looked in the book of animals lately and seen a duck-billed platypus?
That looked pretty funny. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have seen one. Okay. Is the Vril in energy, VRIL, referred to by the Vril Society as the same as the dark energy you talk about?
No. Vril used a different approach that was extraordinarily inefficient, in my opinion. Although at the time it was extraordinarily advanced too. Just because something appears to be extraordinarily advanced does not necessarily mean that that's the truth of the matter. What you have to understand is that dark energy, you see, the Vril were limited in terms of the field produced by the fuel required to operate its mechanism. With dark energy, once you start it, it's basically perpetual supply, meaning that it not only never runs out, if it doesn't deviate. Bingo, you're done right there. You plug that mother in and you can power spaceships a long ways.
Okay. Is it true that the Dracos or some other ET, unacknowledged race, were helping the Germans with technology and ships during World War II period?
Yes. And Keshi is guilty of giving some of his knowledge over to Iran, putting us at a disadvantage in some ways. It was a Tesla, but the people that stole his works are the ones that now you see drones shooting these great big beams of energy, starting fires. That was part of what Tesla was working with, that they stole after they killed him and stole his stuff.
You know what I just read was that in North Dakota, the police can use drones to taser people and to do other nefarious things from a drone. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. They can shoot small arms, drop hand grenades, have rockets, little bitty rockets that are maybe 6-8 inches long on there that can blow up a car. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, okay, there is a company out there that makes what they call a drone catcher. Comes in 12 gauge and it's got a big old net. You shoot the gauge, a big old net falls over. All of a sudden you got a drone on the ground. Now you hope that it can't turn to, have a gun and turn it around and shoot at you. Or
Yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
But,
I just read that today.
You may not use robotics when you engage an enemy. That's a no-no.
Well, an American is not supposed to be an enemy.
You got to remember, the police department shoots people.
Yeah, they do. Sometimes in the back, too.
Well, then you got people that defy the red flag laws. They've been killing them. There's been over a dozen or so murders that I know of, and it's murder. I was in fear for my life. Oh, you got out and stick it up his nose. How you feel now, babe? Oh, I'm puddling on this carpet.
Okay.
One point or another, you have to take the responsibility for your own actions, irrespective as to what you may think about the actions. You have to take the responsibility. So I would suggest at the very least manslaughter. In some cases, outright murder. You chase a guy for 3 blocks and he's still running. You can't catch him because you're out of shape, ate too many donuts, or whatever your problem is. That does not give you the right to shoot the man in the back.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. President Trump just signed the second and final part of the China-U.S. trade deal. Was it a good decision for the global currency reset? What can you tell us?
Yes. You have to have fully free and honest trade in all the systems to facilitate the cashless society. Has to be that way. And that's one of the bases that was explained to me by ET.
Ah, cool. Okay. Was it a good thing for the U.S. workers and consumers?
Yeah, it's good for everybody. Here's the deal. If we can manufacture something cheaper here, then China has lost that part of the market. Okay, now they have agreed to several $100 billion worth of purchases because they are having a problem with their food supply. In other words, one of the things is going to be soybeans. They use a lot of soya. The next thing is going to be pork, and a lot of it because they got a ravenous pork disease over there killing all the pigs. So, and they eat pork. Consequently, we are in a really good position to not only help them, but as we help them, they also going to look favorably upon us and help us.
Okay, is it true that Bernie Sanders is pushing for gulags or camps? It is true.
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a wow. It's a thing where you reach back and you pull it out and you go, "Bye, Bernie." Boom.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know what a gulag was. I had to look it up.
Gulag is the worst kind of concentration camp known to man.
Okay.
That's what a gulag is.
Yeah, I did look it up. So thank you for qualifying that for others too who might not know. Okay, Drake, there's lots of websites out there like the National Liberty Organization.org or walkawaycampaign.org, many militia websites, even for Tea Party patriots. You talk about involving everyone, even in different Facebook groups, to get together and create a phone tree and get in touch with the admins. Have you created a list of names, and will you be sharing any of them? Take, for example, the National Liberty Alliance website. They have over 8,000 members, and they are looking to file paperwork against the governor of Virginia for attacking the Second Amendment rights of the people.
Yeah. I've got 3 times that many on our Facebook page.
Yeah, you do. Over 20,000. 21.
Here's the thing. Every kind of pressure that can be made to happen toward rectifying that situation is being made to happen, short of pulling the trigger. That's the only, that's pretty much the final answer. If these people don't straighten up and fly right, the shooting will start.
It's going to get ugly. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, have you and the Patriots and the White Hats and the U.S. military thought about getting in touch with them? Obviously, you just said you did. Then what National Liberty Alliance and you and the White Hats can get in touch with Attorney General William Barr. Have you thought about doing that?
I've already sent the information to Mr. Barr and to President Trump to start some kind of action that the people can see to address that.
Thank you. That's a good note. That's our last question too, because that's what people want to see. They want to see something.
Oh yeah. Yes. I love it. I love that last question. Oh boy.
Yes. That way it's a more reasonable length of time too, because it takes time to process all this. So
I enjoy a lot of the questions. A lot of the stuff seems like it's regurgitation. Sometimes it seems like they're repeats. But then if you really listen to the whole question, oh, we're going to tack this on and that on and that on, and oh boy.
It's a great group of people that follow Cosmic Voice and that follow our shows, and they come up with some really good questions. So I want to thank everyone for your questions. And I want to thank Drake for your time and your wisdom.
Oh, gee.
And the things that you do that, are trying to help move this along. And, we all do what we can do. And that's great.
Hey, I appreciate you listening to us. I think we're squirrely, but, it's a lot of fun. So, and E.T., every once in a while I mention something in a certain way, and I can hear. The thing is, I can hear them, and they're busting up laughing sometimes about what we're talking about doing. So,
okay.
We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And
hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on, and see you on the I guess the flip flop rebound or however that works.
Flip side, as they say. I don't know. Okay. And thank you, everyone who's made some donations. And trust me, I really do need them in order to continue to do this. I've had my housing threatened before and now again. And so your donations, no matter how small or whatever, they are a wonderful help. And those of you that have already donated, I want to personally thank you, because this is not for profit. This is for survival. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful week, and thank you. And my puppy says bye too. This is my company. Thank you.